Hello, good evening, and welcome to. I have no idea what episode this is because it's been going on for far too long now. Welcome to the. What are we called?
Many names. I go by many names.
Welcome to the Rambling Halfling, a virtual tavern of gaming, but we haven't played any games yet, but we're going to. Chat, of which we do plenty, generally bullshit, to be quite honest, and many other things. My name's Hayley.
And my name's Michael.
The other idiot.
Whoa, that's a bit harsh.
I said the other idiot, as in we're both idiots. I didn't say the idiot, I said the other idiot, so that's all right.
But yes,
You know
welcome.
what? It's been a funny old week.
Why is that then? All the bank holidays? In the UK, we've had bank holidays, so
Yeah.
it's been short weeks.
Friday was a bank holiday. Today's been a bank holiday. Last week it was shorts and t-shirt weather, and today it's been snowing.
Yeah, we had a bit of snow. Only a little bit.
And I feel a bit confused, to say the least.
You put that eating on yet?
I had fire on downstairs.
Yeah, we had it on to take the cold and damp off, but
Yeah.
it's been beautifully sunny.
Oh yeah, the sunshine's really nice.
But
It's really bright and lovely.
Step outside and it's bloody cold.
Yeah. It's like I took dog for a walk this morning in the snow. It was actually snowing. And then this afternoon, we took Little and took Park to run around, and it was like bright sunshine. It's like, I'm so confused. I feel all out of sorts. Nothing's right. It's all gonna be
At least you've left the house.
Yes.
I don't think I've left the house really.
What, in a week?
Well, I went to work, but
Oh.
I went out for a bit of a walk on, what day are we on? Monday, maybe Saturday. And then I ate way too much chocolate eggs.
Oh.
And just, I was watching stuff on TV till last night, and then I bloody went to bed late, and then got up late, and it just throws me all out.
Yeah. I've got a really horrible habit of going to bed with my phone, which I stopped it for a little while, and I really need to stop it again because I just fall down the hole and I'm, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and it's just scrolling, reading, watching videos, and it's not doing me any good because I'm tired.
You need to get up later.
Well, tell that to the 4-year-old monster that's kicking me in the head, telling me, I want to go downstairs. I want to play Lego.
Yeah, when my daughter was that age, we were lucky in that we lived in a bungalow.
Oh.
So we could just palm her off into the lounge. She'd watched The Wizard of Oz about 3 times. And then we'd just sort of get up.
I want a bungalow. We looked at a bungalow, but it was not within our budget. I do quite like the whole, I don't know, I lived in a lot of flats, so
Yeah.
I think living on one floor I find quite appealing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I don't mind it. I mean, as I say, I've always lived in a bungalow. When I first left home, I was in a bungalow. And
Yeah.
now we're spread over 3 floors.
Oh, yeah. No,
So
you're in like your townhouse, aren't you?
Yeah.
But then, say my last house, that was was that 4 floors?
I
get
think you said it was
confused.
floor. You never let me in, so I don't know.
didn't you come in my old house?
No.
Well, it sounds quite posh, and when I first moved there, I thought I was terribly posh. Cause
Well, it
you
looked it
go in.
because it was in a crescent. It was like the posh houses in Bath.
Oh, it looked posh, but the area degraded severely. Let me tell
Was that
you.
after you moved in?
No, after I left. Well, it started turning. Basically, when all the houses get bought, but then they're all rented, and the area just degrades. But yeah, you come in onto what is in effect the first floor, because the front door is here, but your back door garden is like one floor down.
Yeah.
See my hands. So we had like the dining room and the kitchen on what you think is ground floor, but is actually the first floor. And then your living room and a bedroom, and then 2 bedrooms. But we had a garden room, which sounded terribly posh. So it's like a second living room where you have access to the garden, and then there was an office, and it all felt terribly posh. But oh my God, all those stairs with the baby. Oh, no. No.
Should have had a dumb waiter. And then you could have just put him in a little basket and lowered him down.
There was no room because the stairs were like in the very centre of the house. So you could stand at the top and look down the stairs and see like 4 flights down, which was a bit peculiar, I have to say. But no, I quite fancy having a bungalow. I like the house that I'm in now.
It's kind of a bungalow, but it's got stairs upstairs.
Yeah, I think they call
Dormer
them...
bungalow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit more than a dormer bungalow. It's a chalet style house. Try and make everything sound as posh as possible.
Sorry.
Even though I'm not. But yeah, we're not talking about biscuits this week.
No,
and we're not talking about
appliances.
Kitchen storage. I've started trying to label, because this gets uploaded to YouTube. I've started labelling everything that goes on YouTube rather than it all just having the same title. So the last video I entitled... oh God, what was it now? Biscuits, Marmite and Fanny Candles. So if anybody's interested in either 3, go to YouTube and find out all about it. I can't believe you'd never heard of that,
I hadn't. I genuinely hadn't.
It's just a mystery to me how nobody's heard of Gwyneth Paltrow's candles.
No, well, I went on I did like a Twitter search. I thought it was safer. and there's a few links and articles on there, but I still won't be buying one.
What is this world that we live in? That's what I want to know. So that's my bit of whinging out the way. What have you been up to this week? Do tell me all your noodlingness.
This week, what have I done? I ran a Call of Cthulhu game for some people on Saturday that had never played it before.
Awesome.
And we did the Necropolis, which we did at Halloween at your place.
All right, okay.
The Egyptian tomb one.
Mm-hmm, yeah. How did they fare?
They all died.
Oh, God. Oh.
Horrifically.
At least
Which
we
was fun.
lived.
Pardon?
At least we lived.
Yeah. You managed to get out, but they didn't. So.
Oh man.
It's my favourite. It's my favouriteest scenario for introduction to new players.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit linear, but Dave played it as well. Who played it before when we played it?
Yeah.
And even he said that played out so differently, having played it once already.
Yeah.
I mean, I did change and tweak a few little bits, but nothing major of the plot line.
Yeah.
And he
But
was
that's it,
like,
though,
no,
isn't
that was
it?
played so differently.
I mean, that just proves that exactly the same game can end up being completely different because of who the players are and
Yeah.
the decisions that they make. So, oh, that's really cool.
No, I played that. What else have I done? I watched, which was why I was up late yesterday. I started watching a TV program about the Americans call it the Hotel Cecil, but it's the Hotel Cecil on Netflix. And
Okay.
I've seen 2 episodes. I think there's some more. It's linked to the disappearance of this Chinese girl.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then they
yeah.
sort of, yeah, I won't say anymore, but yeah, it's a hotel that's kind of linked to a lot of drugs and death. And
I
it's like,
think I've seen there's a Japanese film based around it, and then I think Hollywood remade the Japanese film, but I didn't realise there was actually some true story behind it all.
yeah,
Um,
so that was worth a watch. What else did I watch? The only other
do you
film
find
I
anything
watched was,
out?
you find out what happens at the end, but I didn't want to give spoilers out.
Oh, okay, okay.
And the other thing I watched that I actually really enjoyed was, I wouldn't say it's so much nerdy, but it was the Black Klansman.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I've seen that. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Again, it was a bit like watching Chernobyl,
I've not
where I
seen
ended
that.
up Googling everything to see what bits were real and what bits they'd made up.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, you must have had a
Did
pair of balls to do that.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, well, it was a brave sausage, wasn't he? But did you spot? I'll probably pronounce his name wrong. Halfdan or Halfdan from Vikings.
No.
He played. The crazy wide-eyed guy that was questioning whether Adam Driver was actually like a racist or not. Do you know when
Is
they
that
were like in the house, in the basement, in the house?
is that the one with whose wife's in it as well? Who
Yes,
keeps going on
yes,
about him. Right, I didn't know that was him.
yeah, yeah. Halfdan, King Harold's brother.
Hmm.
I see
I
these
didn't learn
things.
that on
I have an itch. I have an itch.
IMDb.
Yeah, I loved that film.
Yeah, it's good.
So it's a little while since I've seen it, so I probably can't comment on it particularly well. But I remember really, really enjoying it.
And of course, it's Spike Jones, so there's a lot of, well, there was a lot of modern day digs at Trump and
Yeah,
America again.
I seem to recall. Was it near? I think it might have been near the end. But when the black cop is going after the woman in the car, and he pulls her over, and then these two white cops appear, and then they basically completely ignore everything that he's saying and attack him and start punching him and arrest him. It's just like, oh God. Just watching it thinking, oh Jesus Christ.
The worst bit is at the end when they show you the footage of the riots. I think it was 2017.
Yes.
And it was some of the race
I
riots.
do remember that. Yeah.
It was just like, ooh, that makes you cringe when it's the cars getting driven into.
Yeah.
And I genuinely do think, going completely off subject, that is what will happen if they don't arrest or send down the bloke that killed George Floyd or Floyd or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
If he gets off, I think there'll be big civil unrest.
He can't get off really, though, can he? Really? Really? I've not been following it because, to be honest, since the whole pandemic thing, I've had to try and separate myself from the news because it was... I'm very sarcastic and jokey, but it was like seriously impacting my mental well-being watching the news all the time. But I would struggle to see how they could let him off. Really.
They could give him quite a lenient sentence, though.
But when the paramedics, they're not paramedics over there, are they? They're fire officers that do first aid or something. It works differently, doesn't it, in America?
I don't know.
Well, their version of paramedics, anyway. I think they showed up and they were saying you need to get off him, but he was already dead anyway. So
I know not. But anyway, we digress.
Yes.
But other than that, I haven't really done much more. I've been watching mainly stuff on how to set up Twitch and stuff.
Getting fucked off with deciding to have a Mac instead of a PC.
It's certainly a lot harder. Certainly a lot harder.
Well, I mean, as I've sort of chirped on about in various episodes, the faff that I've had trying to get Streamlabs set up, and it's a nice piece of software and it is fairly straightforward, but for it to talk to an iMac, it's just going round the houses. It's an absolute pain in the arse. And I think that technology companies in general have issues, talking to each other. And it's I'm not going to own everything that is Samsung, as an example. It's you people need to start talking to each other.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about streaming on PlayStations, and you're trying to get your PS4 sorted out, and that's giving you a headache.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. So I've been looking more at games I can play on my Mac until I can save up and get the PC.
Yeah.
So I did a few test runs today.
Yeah, I've not actually had a look at them yet, so
why the microphone sounds like I'm talking into a tin can. Hello.
Because I've ordered my PS5 camera. That should be coming tomorrow, actually. And then I all of a sudden had a bit of a panic because I thought, well, I haven't got. I'll have to use my secretary-looking headset with the mic on it, because there is a mic on these, but
I know, because when I was looking at the PlayStation 4, because you've got the Yeti, and you can use that on the PlayStation 4. You can use the Yeti and just USB plug it into the front.
Yeah.
And then you can plug your headphones, if they're wired, into the base of the Yeti. There's a headphone jack in there. Yeah.
Is there? Oh, there is. Oh.
So yeah, you can plug your headphones in there, and then you can change the output settings on the PlayStation.
But because I'll be downstairs, and this setup is in the office, probably what I'll have to do, at least initially, until the office is redecorated and everything, I'll have to use my trusty Apple earphones and use the mic on that. And I can plug that into the controller. So that's probably how I'm going to have to try it out initially. And then have my iPad next to me so I can see the chat, because that's not going to show up
Yeah, I never got that far into it. I got as far as doing a test stream. It went all fuzzy and pixelated, and it was just like, nah.
Well, the PS5 is supposedly streamer ready, so it should be a case of buy the camera, plug everything in, and away you
Yeah.
go, and it streams directly to Twitch. So I would hope.
PlayStation does, but I just think it struggles with what it's doing. You know what I mean? It's like a really old processor now, and it's trying to run the game. It was trying to
Yeah,
run the camera feed. It was trying to run the streaming feed,
yeah,
and I just think it was struggling. So the other
yeah,
thing was to
yeah,
try and do it remotely through the computer. But because it's a Mac, you had to do this and this, and it was just like, oh, do you know what?
bollocks.
My Mac's not the best Mac now. It's getting on, and it was just,
But my Mac is only what, a couple of years old or something, 3 years old at most, and it's not quick. It really annoys me. It's like ever since I've had it, I click something, I expect it to jump. It should do what I want it to do
yeah.
when I tell it, and it doesn't. And I'm not used to that at all. So I don't know. I'm just getting more and more pissed off with Macs in general. iPads and everything fine, but for an actual computer, I don't know if it's me that's moved on, or if it's the Apple products
I
that
think we're
haven't
probably
moved on.
used more to the iPad and iPhone iOS, where it is quicker and almost instant.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, some things my Mac's fine, and then others it just takes. I get the little spinning wheel of death for 3-4 minutes.
yeah, yeah. So I say I don't know if it's my expectations that have changed, or if it's the Mac that's sort of gone downhill, or I don't know. But I proper messed up. I bought the app version of some editing software without realising. And then I basically had to buy the exact same thing again as a download version because the app version was shit and they were basically the same price. So I've paid twice. And it's like, how is this so crap? And yet it's on exactly the same computer.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I feel like there's some sort of disconnect going off with Apple. I don't know. I was talking about this last week, I think. It feels like there used to be this really innovative, user-friendly, design-led company, and PCs were sort of your clunky, you know, non-user-friendly competitor, but they were cheaper. And now it kind of feels like they're, I don't know, doing things for the sake of it, purposefully putting barriers in your way.
I think personally for me, I mean, I think you did as well. I went to college and at college, so for me, I love the design of the Mac, and I love all the little icons. I love the desktop and the layout. So I know
Yeah,
that when I go back to a PC, I'm going to hate that side of it. It's not going to look nice and pretty, and
yeah,
I just hate the fact that they just make it so complicated to do anything. I think it's me that's changed. What I want from a computer is now
yeah,
different than what I wanted. And then the other thing that really bugs me is if I want to upgrade the memory or something goes wrong with it. You know what I mean? I can't change the graphics card. I've got to get it. My Mac's 10 years old, and I don't know what graphics card I'm going to want in. So unless you're
yeah,
buying a top end one at 4 or 5 grand, which isn't going to happen, it's
yeah. It's
I don't
difficult,
know.
isn't it? I mean, when I got my MacBook Pro when I went to uni. I think I got it. Yeah, for uni. That bloody thing weighed a ton. But I only used it for like the Adobe suite. So Photoshop, Illustrator. I mean, Flash is now defunct.
That's
InDesign.
because I got Adobe Flash Player on here,
Yeah,
and it keeps telling me it wants updating, but it won't let me update because there's nothing to
there aren't
update.
any. Yeah.
And for some reason, Apple won't let me uninstall it. I go to all the apps, I go to click on install, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
So there's
It's
nothing
ridiculous.
there. I've uninstalled what I can, but it still pops up. It's like the Adobe Creative Cloud. I subscribed to Photoshop for a few months for something I was doing. Now I can't get rid of half of that.
Yeah.
It's just annoying.
I don't know. Like you said, it might be us that's changed, but I just don't feel that they're catering to what I need anymore. Anyway, different software that I've tried to install, and you're bloody googling it and following YouTube tutorials to try and unlock tiny little things so you can bring up different menu options that aren't there for normal people. It's
Yeah.
like, why am I having to go through all these back doors to just try and use something that's cost, a lot of money that I'm trying to use, and they're just making everything fucking awkward. So I'll keep my iPhone. I don't think I'll ever I don't think I'll go to Android.
Oh no, I love the iPhone. I love my iPad Pro,
Yeah.
and I still love MacBooks and iMacs. I still do love them, but they're just not doing what I want at the minute.
No.
What I might do, what I'm planning, is PC for this, for gaming, and then I might actually look at getting a Mac Mini, which is like the little box one.
Yeah.
And then that will just plug into like the monitors and the mouse and the keyboard from the PC.
Yeah.
So that way I've still got my finger in the apple pie.
It's hard to let go, isn't it?
It is for an iPhone, because once you lose them iMessages.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're saying that.
I had a Google Pixel. I had a Google Pixel.
Yeah.
And what was it? Yeah, because I thought I'll get WhatsApp, because then my wife and daughter, who were on iPhones at the time, were be all right. My daughter was a bit of a dickhead on WhatsApp, so we deleted it off there, and it just didn't work out. But yeah, I didn't know, because she then got an Android phone, which then she was a dickhead on, so we got rid of, because I couldn't lock it down as much as an iPhone.
What? I don't understand. How can you be a dickhead on WhatsApp? I'm not okay with this.
Getting into trouble, and just it's constant messaging and massive group chats, and
oh god,
yeah, it's just not going there. Text messages. She texted me from her phone, and I'd be like, "Don't send pictures, because it's a picture message." And then I got a bill, and there was like 15 quid on it.
Oh yeah.
And it was emojis.
No way.
Yeah, I phoned up Orange. I was like, "What's the 15 quid for?" Because I went through I got itemised bill for her, and I went through, and it's like, she's texted me, and I went back and looked at the messages she sent, and they were messages.
Yeah.
So I'm getting charged picture messaging for a normal text. And they went, "Has it got emojis in it?" I was like, "Yeah." And they went, "Yeah, it's a picture message." So I was getting, it's like 50 odd pence, I think, for a picture message.
That's bad, isn't it?
And I actually said, nobody's telling anyone this. You just get your emoji and you think, oh, it's text. It's practically part of text speaking.
Yeah.
I don't think I send any message now without a little emoji, but...
Yeah. Or bloody GIFs. Oh, bloody pain in the arse for them. I can't help myself.
Yeah, I've never mastered them, so I'm not too au fait with them.
But
But then I'm a bit older than you.
You're not that much older than me, please. Please. Sorry, I'm just looking. I seem to have a bit of a shake on your camera, but you're not actually shaking on the one that I've got there. Technology confuses me. Your...
I mean,
See,
my
that
camera's
just
mounted
moved.
on a shelf.
No. Your feed from Skype is fine and isn't shaking, but the image through Streamlabs shakes occasionally, like you're knocking the camera. Oh, now you've disappeared altogether. Oh, drama.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
drama.
Oh,
Oh no,
my God.
you've come back now. I don't know. You know what?
Re-break.
This is practice. We haven't got a huge audience. We'll get better when there's millions of people watching us. But yeah, I only actually ever use WhatsApp apart from my mum. And I've even got my mum on WhatsApp, and it's a bit odd work because she constantly forgets how to use it, bless her, but she is 77. But apart from her, I only ever use WhatsApp anyway. So...
I wouldn't. I'd get rid of it if I could.
What, WhatsApp?
Yeah, it's part of my anti-Facebook thing.
Oh...
I really don't like... Because they just lost a load more information of so many million users.
Probably.
It's like... I'd love to delete Facebook and WhatsApp, but I got a lot of friends from the States and various other countries. It's like, how am I going to speak to them? And Instagram is my weakness. It's probably the only social media that I like.
Keeping up with all the various Dungeons and Dragons games, they're all separate WhatsApp threads. That's all my WhatsApp is full of, is this game, this game, this game, this game, this game. Like,
I know, it gets hard actually. Sometimes I'll message you. We have got a message for this, a message just for each other, a message for D&D, and I was like, hang on, which one am I talking to you on?
I want to say something personal. Oh, right, okay, make sure I got it on the personal one. I want to say something connected to streaming. All right, I'll put it in the stream. Oh, it's so complicated. We live such complicated lives.
Pick the phone up and... Hello?
No, wait a minute. Ringing people? No, we don't ring people.
Still a thing, I'm told.
You know what really, really severely fucks me off, right?
Many things from what I can gather.
Well, quite a lot of things, to be honest. But on this particular subject, something that really fucking grinds my gears is people that FaceTime you without texting first to see if you're free.
See, nobody FaceTimes as me, so I don't have that problem.
It absolutely drives me to despair. I can't cope with it. If my phone starts ringing and it says FaceTime so and so, I am not fucking answering it. And I just silence it and I move it away. I'm like, no, you text me first. You don't know what I'm doing. You don't get to look at me when I'm sat on the toilet. I am not answering it. And I get really quite angry about it. You know, my time is my own. You do not own me.
You mean you haven't got your makeup on?
Well, no. It's... To be fair, there's only ever really one person that does it. And that's my mother-in-law. So.
I don't. Yeah, nobody FaceTimes me, so I don't. Well, my daughter does, or my wife does.
Yeah.
Normally,
but then nobody. Nobody.
Yeah,
well,
like,
my wife. Well, my daughter. Put the kettle on. And FaceTime.
Yeah, they don't do it while we're out or anything.
Oh. What? While you're all in the house in separate rooms?
Yes. Yeah.
Dad, put kettle on.
It's like we got certain little robotic speakers in the corner
Oh, yeah.
that we could just drop in on and
Have you got
make
one
announcements.
Oh, I do like technology. I do. I mean, it's a faff, but I do like technology. I've always liked gadgets. You know, like in the 90s, I got my lava lamp and one of them balls that has the thing in the middle. So when you touch it, you have like the lightning.
Is it an Edison ball?
Yeah, yeah. I had one of them and
A Tesla ball? I can't remember now.
something like that. But anything like that, you know, I had one of them picture infinity mirror picture things. I love all that trash. Well, I used to anyway. Do you remember blow up sofas? Did you have a blow up sofa?
Not in the house. I've had them for camping.
I had a blue see-through blow up
Not in my house.
2-seater sofa in my bedroom in the 90s. God bless the 90s.
Oh, I was probably out drinking.
What? No, I was drinking as well then. Because we started going to the pub when I was 16. Because you just did, didn't you? Don't know if they get away with that now.
I wouldn't know. I don't agree with it anyway.
What, drinking in general?
Well, yeah, I don't drink, so...
I don't really drink anymore. I do quite like a fancy cocktail when I'm on holiday. But I don't really drink in the house. I don't know. I think most of the point of drinking when I was younger was to get drunk and dance in nightclubs and various other shenanigans.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Dear me. Let me just check my iPad. Hang on. How are we doing here?
Dooby-doo-boo. So, after saying that I don't agree with drinking or pubs and all that, we've decided to re-theme this whole endeavour of ours after a pub, a tavern.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to drink, and to be honest, the whole drinking ale in the tavern wasn't massively alcoholic anyway, was it? I mean, ale was very watered down, isn't it? And it was like safer than drinking water back in the day.
Strengths of beer because it was safer to drink than the water. So
yeah, so I don't think that's a massive.
Even the kids did it.
Yeah. It's alright, it's alright. Anything else that you've been doing this week?
What have I been doing?
Have you read anything? Have you been anywhere?
No, not been anywhere. I haven't really read that much. I started to read some Vason.
Oh, yeah. Past looking at the pretty pictures.
No, I got distracted by the pretty pictures again. I'm a sucker for pretty pictures. But yeah, not really read anything.
I felt like reading this week. But
did you?
No. I sort of look at the books that I've got, of which I haven't read, and I'm like, but if I bought this book, then I'd definitely read it. So I've put various books in my Amazon basket and then said, no, read the books that you've got first, and then, but I don't want to read them.
You've got to be in a certain state of mind to read certain books.
Yeah. And I can't seem to find the right state of mind.
Audio books, that's the way to go.
Oh, I've just not got anywhere I can listen to them. Although saying that, sorry, itch. Now I've started running again. Oh dear, I'm tired. Now I've started running again. I've started with some podcasts. Nothing particular this week because I've only just sort of been getting back into things. But I can start listening to podcasts again. I'm not sure that I could listen to a story while I was running.
Talking of podcasts, I was listening to a really good one last week. Let me see if I can find it. I didn't subscribe to it, so that's helpful. It's called The Old Gods of Appalachia.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of all based around the Appalachia mountains and stuff in so I was reading that message and I don't understand that.
Mate,
as I don't understand the question, I don't have an opinion.
My opinion on Caesar's Legion. What, Caesar's actual Legion? Or is this a game? Sorry, Flower, I ain't got a clue what you're talking about. If you'd like to...
Yeah, well, if it's Julius Caesar's actual Roman Legion, so quite a force to be reckoned with, but other than that, I don't know what Caesar's Legion is. But thank you.
I had a totally random thought. We'll come back to the podcast thing in a minute. This has just reminded me of something. I was watching Vikings, and they're giving it the whole shield wall business. And we are, I think I'm on season 5 now of the rewatch. And you see the English people start doing shield walls as well. But in that sort of era, they've kind of all forgotten, well, not forgotten about the Romans, but nobody seems to know about them very much, do they? Yeah. But the Romans were the original shield wall, were they not?
Yes, they had the I can't remember the name of it now.
Because they had them big rectangular
like
shields.
A porcupine. They'd have, yes.
And they'd literally build a box, wouldn't they? You know, GCSE history. I'm struggling here. So I don't know.
That must have been a weird time. I always thought that. We went to a museum quite local to us that's on the A5, and they were showing you. It's on the Roman road, and they were showing you. They'd done some drawings of what it was like after the Romans. So they got all these Roman buildings. So why did we go back to living in mud huts?
Well, again...
Were they so anti-Roman that they then went, no, I don't want to touch that. That's these roads and then that bathing business is horrible. Let's go back to being peasants and living in Watland or mud huts. Yeah,
definitely. I think this is something that I want to... I don't know, maybe do a bit of research into or find a book on or something. Because, again, going back to Vikings, the TV series...
Then I suppose that's why it's the Dark Ages, because we don't know.
Maybe. But when they first go to England... well, not first go to England. When they're with... what's his face? Oh, crap, I can't remember his name now. The king of... Well, he takes over Mercia. You know, the blonde dude.
King John.
No.
John, is it? Alfred?
No. Oh, somebody help me out. Who watches Vikings?
This is only us two here.
Aethelwulf's dad. Like one of the main characters.
We should remember it through history as well, not just because of
Aethelwulf's dad. King Egbert.
King of Wessex, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he took over Mercia as well.
Egbert, yes.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell. Age. What was my original point? Yeah. Everybody else around him seemed to either have no knowledge of the Romans, or it was bad and they weren't supposed to talk about it because they were pagans. And yet, wherever it is that they're living, Wessex, there is a Roman bath in his like castle, isn't there?
Yes.
And all these old paintings, frescoes, whatever they're called, on the walls, and they're like kept in a locked part because people aren't supposed to look at them or know about them, about this whole Roman stuff, because the Romans were actually pagans. And modern to them, English people weren't supposed to be involved in that. So was that all religion based? Was it, we are the Christians, the Romans were pagans, we'll, throw it all out?
While I'm Googling that, let's just go back to the shield formations. There was the tortoise, which was the one with the back, or
Yeah.
the testudo.
Okay. I didn't know they had actual names.
I did, but I couldn't remember them. I'm sure the Romans were Christians at the end of their reign.
Not the original ones that invaded England.
No, because a lot of the Roman ones were
Well, it was.
they were all robbed from sort of Greece, weren't they?
Yeah, like Mars and what have you. But then, isn't pagan a Christian word for anybody that isn't Christian anyway?
Yes.
I always find that a bit weird, because people that call themselves pagans, isn't that like almost an insult word? Or is it one of these things where they reclaim the insult word? I don't know, I'm going off on one now.
Christianity was present in Roman Britain from at least the 3rd century until the end of the Roman imperial administration in the early 5th century.
I don't know, though. I don't know.
It just seems weird to me.
Yeah.
If somebody before me had invented baths and tiled streets and saunas and whatever they were doing, and like, how would I go? I'm going to go and build myself a little hovel.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it?
We don't want none of them rows. They're way too much work to build.
But then it probably all is something to do with the whole religious aspect of it, of these people came over and they were the oppressors and they were pagans and we're Christians and we're right and we're going to build things in a way that God would want us to. I don't know.
We need a history professor to watch.
We do. Well, Tourette HA, whoever you were, you certainly sparked a topic of conversation, even though I still don't really understand what you were asking. But never mind. Carry on. You were talking about a podcast.
Yes, I've forgotten what it's called now. The Old Gods of Appalachia.
Yes.
So I'll just read what their description is on the old web provider. It says, in the mountains of central Appalachia, blood runs as deep as those hollers and just as dark. Since before our kind knew these hills, hearts of unknowable hunger and madness have slumbered beneath them. These are the oldest mountains in the world. How dare we think that we can break the skin of a god and dig out its heart without bringing forth blood and darkness? So it's kind of like Old West. Well, the first season is Old West. It's sort of set in history, but it meets Lovecraft. It's got real Lovecraft vibes.
Okay.
And it's really good. And the people that are doing it got that sort of slow southern twang. It's well worth a listen.
Okay. Oh, I would say I'd put it on my list, but my list's about as long as four people's arms at the minute. I've still got a pile of books that keep staring
they're
at
only
me.
like they're like 20-minute episodes.
Oh, that's not too bad then.
So you can.
See, I could probably listen to that when I went on a run, because I'm only doing like 20-minute runs at the minute.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to talk to yourself for a moment, because I am going to have to go to the loo, I'm afraid. I've had far too many cups of tea.
That's unprofessional. Make sure you turn your microphone off.
No, the microphone's staying here, but I've got my headphones on, so I'll hear all the magic that happens while I'm away.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Let's talk about
Caesar.
Christianity in Rome and Britain. Oh, I can't even. So we got people in Rome and Britain typically believed in a wide range of gods and goddesses and worshipped several of them. God, this is hard talking to yourself. Especially about Romans that I know nothing about. Christianity I'm not really interested in. Let's look at the more pagan gods. They seem more fun. So what we got? The old deities of Rome. Jupiter, who was basically Zeus. Thank God for that. We've gone off on a right tangent here.
I couldn't hold it in any longer. I needed a wee. Dear me.
I'll tell you what I did learn. Sorry, thinking of these gods, that Jupiter and Zeus are just Roman Greek names for the same person. Hurricanes and tornadoes.
The weather or the planes?
The weather.
All right.
Yeah, I was listening to the Pirate History podcast. And they said that they're basically the same thing, but in the Atlantic you get hurricanes, and if it's in the Pacific it's a tornado.
Really? I thought it was something to do with rain.
And they were saying that it's to do with the ancient South Americans used to call them something like Hurricana, after the goddess of God of the wind. And it's something the same with, like, I think it was tornado or something like that.
Yeah.
Over in Panama or somewhere.
I thought hurricanes had rain and tornadoes didn't. I thought that was the differentiation.
It probably is, but
you know,
I don't know how correct this podcast is.
I love finding out information, especially about things that we completely take for granted. Things that we say, or ways that we live, or things that impact our life that we just sort of accept. And as much as you can sort of, like, I know you don't have TikTok, and you can berate it for being a stupid app that kids go on and do dances. But
it's a young people's app.
There is actually a big community of, I say older people, basically anybody 30 plus, and there is some really interesting stuff on there, and I am genuinely learning things, right? Really learning, just little nuggets of information. And this is how my brain works. I could study something for years and write essays and not really take it in, but random little snippets of information literally go in and stay. And it's just fascinating because you're just watching this video that might be 90 seconds long, and it just gives you this little nugget of information, and then I'm like, God, I need to go and find out more about this. I need to go and study and read some books because it's like totally grabbed my attention.
Yeah.
Something came up a while ago, and we have already talked about it, was that battle in an English village between
In World
American,
War II, yeah.
World War II, American black soldiers and white soldiers, which is like fascinating. And like TikTok gave that to me.
Because it's the same pirate history podcast. It was talking about William Dampier, and he was a supposed sort of naturalist.
Right.
But he just sort of happened to keep going on these pirate ships and crews.
Just so happened.
Yeah, they were privateers at the time, so he was more of a, I'm just on board to document this. I wasn't a pirate, or I didn't partake in any.
Obviously.
But he only did it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But he documented. I mean, like he did document all the everything he found, all the naturist stuff, and they were saying that even his study of the wind and the rain and the weather patterns they were using up till World War II.
Oh wow!
But they also were saying that he was credited with giving the English language something like 83 words.
That's
and
mental.
He was the first English person to use chopsticks, barbecue, avocado.
I do
He
like
was
avocado.
He was also the first person to write down the making of guacamole.
Are you an avocado person or not an avocado person?
Not an avocado.
Oh.
No. Breadfruit and all these words that he gave to us are just in everyday language.
Yeah,
and
yeah. No, that's really cool. It's really interesting, isn't it? What did I
It's
hear?
like they were saying grenades.
Yeah.
It was to do with the pomegranate and how you get all the little bits in it.
Yeah.
And it was and then the Spanish sort of made these grenades, and they got the little bits in, so they sort of named them grenades or grenados or something.
Well, grenadine.
And then the English just took it as grenades, and it was from the pomegranate.
Grenadine is pomegranate, isn't it? Pomegranate juice. It's like a drink. So grenadine, grenade. That's sort of the root of the word, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love knowing stuff like that. Don't it just sort of like set your brain on fire? It like just makes these little connections, and you're like, ding.
I used to listen to a podcast about the woman that did it was really intelligent, but it was all to do with the history of language.
Yeah, I had one of them today. Actually, it is a bit. I'm
sure her name was something like Helen Zaltzman or something.
I saw there was a TikTok today, and it was talking about. I think it's more of an American phrase, cakewalk. But we might say it's a piece of cake. And apparently this comes from when you would have slaves working on the plantation, and the plantation bosses would do this weird ceremony type thing where they would have the slaves dancing round a cake, and whoever danced the best or the longest or whatever would win the cake. And they used to do it in front of their other white friends or what have you. And that's where cakewalk comes from, which then a piece of cake to mean easy. And obviously that's like a really like shitty origin story for the sentence. But we say all this totally like random stuff sometimes, like, oh, it's a piece of cake, it's easy. But it's actually really, really old and really, really racist. Quite awful. It's fascinating. I love learning stuff like that.
There's quite a few of them as well, isn't there? From nautical terms like sailing. I'm sure they said something like square meals a day was because the plates were square on Navy ships or something.
Really? 3 square
Yeah, I'm sure.
meals? Yeah.
I'm sure. I don't know if I made it up. They were saying like son of a gun was that
Yeah.
somewhere used to tie pregnant women that were difficulty in childbirthing to a cannon and then fire it to try and shock her into pushing the baby out.
What? Well, I mean,
If
it's
if
that.
if it isn't true and I made that up, I'm bloody awesome because that is a cool idea.
The I know this is like really obvious to everybody who knows what it is, but my brain did not twig till literally last year when I heard it. But when I was watching The Magnificent Seven and Steve McQueen jumped on the carriage saying, "I'll ride shotgun," holding a shotgun next to the guy that had the reins of the horse, my brain literally exploded. And I was like, oh my God, that's what riding shotgun means when somebody gets in the passenger seat of the car.
Yeah.
It just means you're in the passenger seat at the front. But it was riding shotgun because you literally had the shotgun while the driver was driving and you were watching for people trying to rob you. And I was just like, oh my God, that's where riding shotgun came from.
Well, according to Google, his term "son of a gun" isn't as good as mine.
Oh.
Basically, it's during the 1800s, naval officers were allowed to have their wives accompany them on ships.
All right.
And it was to do
Sounds
with
fun.
the babies born on board the ship that were delivered in the spaces between the broadside guns.
Oh, okay.
Mine was better and way cooler.
Yeah, yours did sound more interesting.
It's a bit like my TV program about. I know I've said about it before, but I'll say it on air because if anyone on air comes back and tells me that this is real and I haven't made this up, is that fucking cartoon about a fly that goes up a dog's arsehole and has adventures. It goes like a whole world in there.
Have you Googled this?
Now, how am I going to Google? It was a French cartoon.
French cartoon?
And it was
Fly?
Yeah, and it go up this dog's butthole.
Google
and it was like
that.
It was like a portal. There was like another one. I have, and you just get images of dogs' butts. Honestly, everyone's convinced I've made this up.
Have you smoked
Like,
some
no.
questionable substances in your youth?
Yes, but that's not the point. It wasn't then. I just wish I could draw because I could do this awesome cartoon. It'd beat Adventure Time any day.
Oh God. Oh, but there are. I love them little sort of like origin stories of random pieces of information. It's just so fascinating. And not to sort
The
of
podcast I was on about was called The Illusionist.
Oh, okay. And not to keep banging the same old drum, but a lot of old original things that we still in some way have, morphed into culture today, it always seems to be colonialism or religion or a mix of the two that have like bashed these things down in native cultures. One came up yesterday, I think. They were talking about in native Hawaiian culture, there's always been 3 genders, and I can't remember the word, but it began with M. You had male, female, and the middle, but it was a different word. And these were like highly revered in their society. They were like seen as like these magical people. And then colonialism, the Christians came. No, shut up. There's only two genders. Blah 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 blah. You're gonna worship God now and do as you're told. And they weren't
I
allowed.
just googled it. I can't say that. It's got a lot of sort of like Mahu.
I don't know. And like all their hula dancing and stuff, they weren't allowed to do it. It's proper shitty, isn't it? Colonialism. Bloody Christians have caused so much trouble.
I did not know that.
But there's a lot of things like that. Or native culture. I mean, I think Native American Indians, they have like 6 genders in their belief system. And it's like, oh, you know, when I say we, clearly I don't mean we, but it's easier to say. We go over there and we're like, no, shut up. This is the truth. Stop your beliefs that you've held for thousands of years in your own cultural beliefs. It's all nonsense. Here's God. Here's Jesus. Crack on.
So, the saying, go the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
What's it mean?
That's something to do with football, innit? American football.
No, it says, basically it means to try one's best.
Oh, yeah.
And they were saying that it's from World War II. Fighter pilots used to receive a 9-yard chain of ammunition. Therefore, when a pilot used all of his ammunition on one target, he gave it the whole 9 yards.
Oh. Okay. I like that.
What else have we got?
Well, do you remember...
Cat got your tongue?
Go on.
Is something said when a person is at a loss for words, and it says there's 2 possible sources for this saying. The first refers to the cat of 9 tails, that was the whip used by the English Navy for flogging. The whip caused so much pain that the victims were left speechless. And the second refers to the practice of cutting out the tongues of liars and blasphemers and feeding them to cats.
That's grim. That is grim.
Kick the bucket.
Well, that's to die. That's
Yeah,
something
it's
about
from...
being hung, probably.
When a cow was killed at a slaughterhouse, a bucket was placed under it while it was positioned on a pulley. Sometimes the animal's leg would kick during the adjustment of the rope, and it would literally kick the bucket before being killed.
Well, I'm about 95% vegan, so...
What else have we got? No spring chicken.
What does that mean?
Apparently, it's New England chicken farmers generally sold chickens in the spring. So the chickens born in the springtime yielded better earnings than the chickens that survived the winter. Sometimes farmers tried to sell old birds for the price of a new spring chicken. Clever buyers complained that the fowl was no spring chicken, and the term came to represent anyone past their prime.
You're no spring chicken.
No, I was just thinking we're going to rename this channel.
No spring
chickens.
Well, I do wonder sometimes if we shouldn't just make this like an over 40s club. Cause
I was watching some Sea of Thieves, and there was a bloke streaming, and his username was like Grandpa Summit, load of numbers like Grandpa 19.
Yeah, but now World War.
No, I looked, and he was not old, but he must have been 60 odd.
Oh wow! Did you ever see?
I've played D&D with a guy, Ed, and a few of other. I'm talking English. I'm getting excited. Ed and a few others have played with him, and he's retired.
Okay.
And all he does is he says, "I got into D&D to fill the time." He says, "I don't have to get up for work, and I can join games on Roll20 with people in the States and." bit hard to understand him, though, because he's from Yorkshire, so he talks all funny like.
Oh, I have played with him once.
Yeah, you probably have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now. Yeah, but his accent is he actually from Yorkshire? I thought it was from Lancashire because his accent's a lot stronger than mine is.
I don't know, actually.
Or he must be from North Yorkshire. I thought he might. I think he's from Lancashire. I don't know, but yeah, no. Yeah, I do.
From deeper up north.
Yeah, although I've been acclimatised. Yeah. I mean, I left home when I was 20 and lived in London, so my accent's gone a little bit.
Weird. Wait till you get Robin.
Less pointy.
Oh, I just said your son's name now. I do apologise.
His accent's wonky anyway. He said, "Where's my Easter basket?" Basket? It's basket. Where's my Easter basket, Mummy? Are we going to Waitrose? Can I have some... Oh, there was a Facebook group that used to have things that posh kids say. It were hilarious. Things overheard in Waitrose.
Is that the equivalent to people of Walmart?
Yeah. If you're a naughty boy, you won't be having any focaccia with your dinner.
One of the best things I overheard, we was queuing at Walt Disney World, and we were queuing for the gates to open to try and get to the ride that we wanted to go on so that the queue wasn't as long.
Yeah.
And he must have been a military father, because he was literally geeing up his wife and kids like, "Are you ready? We're going to be at ground zero in a minute. We're going to go." And literally Disney make a big show of opening up.
Yeah.
And they've just literally opened the gates, they've scanned their tickets, and the last thing he said was, "Go, go, go!" and then he said, "Just remember, every person in front of you is a person in front of you in the queue. Go, go, go!"
What?
And they all literally set off at this flipping sprint.
Oh my God.
Because I tell you what, we also went on, have you seen Avatar?
Yeah.
They've got an Avatar ride there, and honestly, it is the most immersive thing I've ever been on.
Oh, wow.
I've never... this something completely different. But you sort of sit on this motorised motorbike. You know the old motorbikes you used to get at the arcades?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but you're sort of in this almost 360 cinema thing, and it's amazing. But there's like a bank of 6 of them. So we've got 3 of them. And then there was another family and a kid on the next 3. And this kid was quite young and not enjoying it. They were genuinely scared. And they were like, "I don't like it. I don't like it."
Aww.
And to be fair, the cast members that were there sort of said, "Look, it ruined it for us. We could go on it again and skip the queue." So we did, because it was so brilliant, but it didn't. But the parents... The father there was just going, "No, you will man up. You will face your fears."
What?
And this kid was genuinely bawling his eyes out.
Oh, no.
And they were just, "I'm not having a pussy for a son. You will man up." And honestly, he must have been about 6 or 7.
See, now I'm not going to go down this road, but toxic masculinity, hello.
This ride... You do at points feel like that you're nose diving off cliffs, and it makes out like you're sat on the back of a banshee and riding it through Pandora.
Yeah.
So it does dip down, and honestly, it's so convincing. Even to the point, you go on it, you queue up through this sort of industrial bit, and then you go into where the vehicles are, and it's all like a metal warehouse and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you sit on this thing, because they say, "Oh, we're going to link you to your avatar," and then you sit on it and you put your 3D glasses on, and that sort of clamps you at the back of your spine.
Okay.
And then it says, "Oh," you look down at this little screen, and then it does this little thing on the screen, but when you look up, you're in this sort of tunnel, like a Doctor Who swirly vortex tunnel. And next thing you know, you're an avatar, and you're just like, "I just entered a room that was all mechanical. Where's that gone?
Oh,
And
that sounds really
you sat
good.
on this motorbike and you can feel it breathing on the back of the Banshee. You can
Oh,
feel it sort
wow.
of breathing and making your legs open and close a bit as it's getting out of breath.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
honestly, it's the most immersive thing I've ever been on.
I will get there one day. We were talking about holidays today, actually. The current situation with holidays. I still think it's going to be a while, like years really, till you can sort of go on holiday properly again. I mean,
I
I
don't
know
know.
the
I read a story today that they were going to bang out a load of one-shot injections for the 20-year-olds to get them to go to Ibiza for the summer.
really.
Well, not to Ibiza, but yeah, they were going to give a load of young kids.
I mean, European destinations I can see a bit more, because we're trying. Well, there's all sorts of things going on, but like the idea of trying to go on holiday to Mexico, say, I don't think that's going to be
Yeah.
happening anytime soon. But then, is anybody going to be allowed to go on holiday to America?
I think they were. Well, it depends, doesn't it? I mean, it depends on how well they're vaccinated.
Yeah.
Um, I genuinely don't know because I look at some of the Disney Twitter accounts or Instagram stories, and I just see all the people, and I'm just like, "Ooh," it makes me cringe now.
Yeah.
I see a large, I mean, I see 6 people in front of the eggs at Tesco's, and I'm like, so I'm stepping back now. We're not
Have
having
you
that.
have you noticed, like, random going off on one now? But since the
Random
pandemic,
ramblings. We need a little jingle.
I know, since the pandemic, supermarkets have changed their game, right? Christmas, Easter, whatever, right? Easter is obvious the recent example. Um, you used to go into Tesco's on Easter Monday and the shelves would be stocked with eggs en masse, right?
Yep.
I had to pop into Tesco's on Friday. There were no eggs left at all. There were just some small packs of mini things, and some individual small, like Paw Patrol type egg things. But all the big ones had gone. And that was Friday. Um, Something's definitely changed because it never used to be like that. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing because, constantly overstocking things, it's not good for the environment and yada, yada, yada. But they have definitely changed their game, I've noticed.
Yeah. Talking of the environment, and I forgot to mention it on things I've watched. Have you seen Seascape? Seaspiracy?
No, but I have heard some rumblings about it.
Fair
Should I
enough.
not watch it? Is it going to upset me? Because I can't watch things that upset me at the moment.
It probably could. It does make you think. I mean, I've
What's it?
read
What's it
stories.
actually about? Is it pollution?
It's kind of about. So it's to do with that kind of plastics.
Yeah.
And they're on about how we're told don't use straws, take a reusable bottle,
Yeah.
and yet that only accounts for next to nothing of the
Yeah.
plastics that's in the sea. And the
Yeah.
biggest thing is fishing nets and plastic fishing. And it was just, I was then, thinking to myself, and it's like, how many times have I been to like Weymouth or any coastal place, and you see a manky bit of green fishing net, tiny little bit washed on, and you're just like, yeah, it's kind of true. But it's just to do with what else is... There's a place in Japan, and they round up all these dolphins,
Oh yeah,
and then they slaughter them,
I've heard
apart from the
about this
really young
before.
ones, which they sell to
Theme parks.
aquariums.
Yeah.
And then he was like, well, why are they doing that? Why are they killing the old ones if they want to capture the young ones? And then he sort of went around the corner, and there's a big fishing port. And then he basically found out that this big fishing port is basically the world headquarters for catching bluefin tuna, which is like the most expensive fish. Like one fish can cost up to millions of quid. I think he was there for a bit, and he must have seen this boat unloading about 60 of them. But then he digs deeper and finds all this other stuff out, and it basically transpires that it's owned by Mitsubishi.
Okay.
And they're basically killing all the other dolphins because they're eating too many bluefin tuna.
Yeah.
And if they can't catch as much, they're not getting their money.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how... I've only got his facts and figures, so I know some people have said, no, that's not right. That's not... So, you know, I mean, I don't know such things. But and also things like the certified dolphin safe tuna and stuff. And he goes to the company that says, issues this certificate. And he says, well, how would you guarantee it's dolphin safe? And they just go, we can't. Once that fishing boat's left port, we don't know what goes on. And then he goes on about the slavery in the prawn markets in Thailand. And it's interesting, but it does make you feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I don't eat seafood. I don't eat fish, so...
I think... It's quite hard because like when I tried being properly vegan a few years ago, and I managed it for 8 months, and I would call myself sort of 95% vegan at the moment, and I'm trying to whittle everything down again. But we live in such a sanitized bubble. And as soon as you start sort of peeling back the layers of the horrendous shit that is done in order to give us this little bubble, I personally find it really overwhelming, and I have to sort of like, maybe it's just like selfish, I don't know, but I can't sort of learn too much about it because it affects me to a point where I'm just consumed by it, and it's awful. It's like the vegan community I find quite troublesome because it's like a never-ending rabbit hole. You know, you start off thinking, right, I want to be a better person, I don't want to kill animals for my plate, when there's plenty of, you know, non-animal things I can eat. Yeah, I'm being a good person. But then it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper till... And they are issues that should be addressed. So it sounds shitty when you talk about it because you sound like a wanker. But like the palm oil industry, which they're basically murdering orangutans and, you know, deforestation, etc., etc., and then on the human side of it, so, you know, where you buy your clothes from, there's factories in bloody India and Bangladesh, and they're falling down because the factories aren't built properly and everybody's dying. And here we are in our little Western bubble where we're complaining about things that really don't fucking matter. And the rest of the world just seems to be on this sort of different, I don't know, fucking plane of existence sometimes, and it does too much to my brain.
One of the things they were saying was, it's like West Africa. Spanish fishing ships are now coming so far down the coast of West Africa, and they're literally just trawling these seabeds, pulling up everything, and the poor little African fishermen in their kayaks, you know, the two men in a boat with a little line
Yeah.
are not catching anything, and their whole family or community are now, whether for years they've been dependent on
Yeah.
these people, and these guys are just coming down in their big dirty diesel tug and whoosh.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest bugbear. I mean, I eat meat, I love meat,
Yeah.
but my biggest bugbear is the mass consumption or the mass farming.
Yeah, the production of it.
Yes. If the animals were bred and just eat what you kill or what you need, if you know what I mean, it's...
Yeah. If it was
I found out last year, England, 10% of England is forest. Just 10%.
That's not a lot.
No, and then because it started off when I was watching Vikings, and I was thinking to myself, the English countryside would have just been all woodland, with little bits cleared for settlements, and do you know what I mean?
Waltham Forest was a forest.
Yeah. And I was just like, how different would it have been? All the road, you know what I mean? It was just...
Yeah.
And the UK's 10%, and just driving to work now, I just see massive, great big fields. And it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Just so that the farmer can produce more crops and get his whopping great big tractor.
I mean, I don't have massive issues with like people that eat meat. Like you said, if it could be done in a sustainable way, it would be a hell of a lot more expensive. But then, shouldn't it be more expensive? I mean, eating meat for how we consume it is like killing us anyway. So if it was more expensive, we would eat less and would eat more veg and what have you, then we might actually be healthier anyway. But when you go to Tesco and there's this nice little polystyrene packet with 2 little pink chicken breasts in it in this little cellophane package, and it's like, could you go and kill a chicken? I couldn't. And that's like my basis for, and I don't really like the flavour of meat anyway, so maybe that's a bit of a cheat. But if you can go out and kill it and pluck it and do whatever, and you're using the whole animal as well, then that's like sustainable. So you don't have to be vegan. In fact, going back to TikTok, I think I saved it on my TikTok account. There is some sort of native... I hope this doesn't sound racist. I don't mean it to sound racist. He was a native person of a native tribe of somewhere, and he was talking about sustainability, and he was saying that veganism isn't sustainable, because if you're a real sustainable person in the environment, you're using everything that is there. So eating an animal but using everything that it gives you is more sustainable than, just eating plants or whatever. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
But then for all this mass production and the amount that gets thrown away, it's like literally criminal, and there's nothing we can do about it. And I lately feel I'm constantly going on an anti-capitalism rant. It's like every conversation I have seems to boil down to, it's capitalism. It's like I talk about trying to lose weight and being on a diet, and it's like they put extra sugar in the sausages so that they taste better, so you buy more and then you eat more and then you get fat, and then they sell you a diet and blah blah blah. And again, good old TikTok. This guy...
You are addicted, no wonder you're tired.
I know, but I'm learning shit. This guy was talking about
you can do some awesome dances.
I don't do any of the dances. But he was talking about capitalism, and he was saying that, long story short, capitalism only survives when we're divided as people. If we all took the time to sort of get together as human beings and had the conversation, then we could basically, fight anything and not have 1% of people that have billions and squillions, and everybody could have, And I was sat there thinking about it, and I actually commented on the guy's video. And I just said, like, I can't remember what my exact words were, but it was to the effect of, so capitalism wants us to be racist and homophobic and sexist and everything else, because these are the things that divide us. So every time you've got like a newspaper stirring the pot, fucking Daily Mail, they're literally inciting bigotry. Because
or Rupert Murdoch.
Well, yeah. It just feeds back into the system again. And it's my poor little brain is just like going, oh my God, there's all this stuff that I feel like I'm realising, but I can't do anything about it. Oh my God.
It is, but at the same time, you only earn so much money.
Yeah.
And your brain tells you to go out. Well, but your heart tells you to go out and support the mom and pop store that's selling something that you really want, but then Amazon, it's 20 quid cheaper.
Yeah.
And you're like, I've got car insurance to pay this year or this month, and it's...
Yeah. It's... Here we are again.
They just need to make...
9 o'clock.
They just need to make the big corporations more accountable.
Yeah. So we're getting towards 9 o'clock and we're on the downer. We're talking about the fucking demise of society and capitalism.
Wow, we'll have the bomb soon, and then it'll like fall out.
But I don't know. I don't think things have necessarily got worse. I don't know. But we have so much more now. When I think about when I was like a kid, like the late 80s, all the cars around, and we didn't live in a shit area or anything, but all the cars, the fan belts would all be screeching. There'd all be like these fucking Toyota Corollas falling apart and shit. And now it doesn't seem to matter where you live. Everybody seems to have a fairly decent-ish car. I can't remember the last time I heard a fan belt.
Yeah, but is that the car manufacturers have got better production quality?
I don't know.
Cars are... Because, I can remember you'd go to a car dealership and they wouldn't have anything older than 3 years old on the forecourt. I mean, we're looking at a new car now, and some of them are like 6-7 years old.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm thinking, well, that's an old car, but...
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's I don't know. It's hard, and you can watch documentaries on things and look at the bigger picture. And that whole straw business I've known about for a while, and that used to really piss me off. I was in some groups on Facebook, it's sustainability, trying to live better, and they're all banging on about, get rid of your plastic straws, buy these metal ones, capitalism again, buy these nice metal ones, but fucking Sharon stops using bloody straws, it's not going to do anything to the ocean because it's all full of fucking nets.
Yeah.
And it's just like distraction, the people that are actually causing the problem. It's like, oh, you're still using straws? Oh my God, straws, we all need to stop using straws, it's a calamity. And we could carry on using straws and it wouldn't actually, not that I'm fighting for straws or anything. But it's not...
We've got metal reusable ones.
Are they any good?
Yeah, they're all right. They do the job.
Yeah.
In fact, they're better than the cardboard ones that McDonald's give you.
Oh, we had a McDonald's the other week. It's so stressful trying to use one of their straws, but you can just take the lid off and drink it out of the cup. So
you can indeed.
I had another point and I've forgotten what it was now.
Was it a happy one?
Probably not. Now we've started talking about capitalism. I mean,
It
it's
needs
just
to be happy.
Let me have a look at me at my list of stuff that we haven't even.
I think I wrote some bits on there, and I haven't even opened it.
Well, it's not exactly cheery, but we have your porn collection, the rise of extortionware. Apparently, in big companies, targeting the IT director for his personal porn stash that he keeps on his work computer. Okay, how much of a dick are you? It's becoming more prevalent, apparently, and rather than like hacking the whole company and trying to get people's details or whatever, they're getting in through back doors and finding somebody that high up that's got a shitload of porn on the computer, and they're like, you know, ransoming.
Yeah, a bit of blackmail.
Yeah, blackmail. And there was one, an IT director for an American firm, and this is all like on the dark web and what have you. I mean, I wouldn't even know where the door is to get on the dark web. It's one of them strange things that I'd quite like to have a look at, and then I'd be a bit, oh no, this is real. Run.
Yeah, guarantee the moment I looked at something like that, it'd be the one time I get into trouble for something.
Yeah. But oh, where's it gone? I've lost my article now. Yeah, so they're like, post on the dark web, thank God for so-and-so named IT director. We downloaded all these megabytes of private information, blah, 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 got all this porn. And then when the comment is deleted, basically that's an acceptance that they've paid the ransom. And companies keep paying out. And it's supposedly on the rise, but and then while I was going through the Twitter stuff, like when I was trying to set up the Twitter account or whatever, I came across a rather odd, well, it's not odd, I don't know, an odd article in telling you how to get your Twitch stream started. And it's called List of Prohibited Games that you're not allowed to play while you stream. And the titles of some of these games, mate, I'm like...
Don't say them in case.
Well, I can say it. We just can't stream playing it. I mean, I don't think I would own any of these games, to be quite honest. But I mean, obviously, you've got ones that, you know, 3DX chat. Okay, you know, we all know where that's going. But there is a game that exists that is called Battle Rape. Okay, this is a game that someone has thought of, that designers have designed, that artists have created. It has been made, it has been published, it is out there, it has been played, it exists. And I'm just reading it going, Battle Rape. Even the fact that you decided to call it Battle Rape is just two fingers up to normal society, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Genital jousting, anyone? Shall we? I mean, that's a bit more funny. I mean, I don't know. I know what I imagine.
See, I quite like the sound of Porn Studio Tycoon.
Hang on. Let's have a look.
I used to
Where's
really
that?
like Roller Coaster Tycoon, theme park.
Yeah, yeah. See, I could go for that. I mean, that sounds quite comical. Porn Studio Tycoon. There's a program on Netflix at the moment, and it keeps coming up on my recommended list. And I do quite like watching things that are a bit strange. And it's one of these documentaries where they follow people, and they're making, it's like a
Stalkers.
porn house, a porn film house where they make porn films, and it's a documentary about the company that make the porn films, and you don't actually see the porn because it's on Netflix, but it's about the company that make it and about the real people that are in the porn films, and I think that's quite fascinating. I am yet to watch it. I need to watch it because it seems a bit odd. I used to like watching them programs about people that have got weird sex fetishes, and they're talking to them, like Louis Theroux, you know. And he does these programs where he follows these people that like dress up as dogs, and their owner puts them in a cage and they have to shit in the corner. And
That's
I'm
not
like,
weird.
oh,
You're saying?
what's in that room?
I'm
Is that
just
is that
checking
your
my dog costume's not behind. No.
They're always made of rubber or latex, aren't they? But the human condition I find absolutely fascinating. So yeah, a game called Porno Studio Tycoon could actually be quite funny. But that's like funniness. I mean, I don't actually know what the game is. Oh my god. The Maiden Rape Assault. Violent
I was just
Semen
reading that one.
Inferno. Violent Semen Inferno. I feel like we should relay that to a certain somebody that we play D&D with to see what he makes of it. Name begins with a T. I don't know. I could see him coming up with something around that.
This is the problem. Like I was saying with the dark web, I'm looking at this list of games now, and although I don't agree with them, I kind of want to go, what is it?
You want to see what it is. I get that. And it is...
And I don't
like,
agree with it, but
there's a word for it.
My morbid curiosity is...
Yeah. Like when somebody's
twitching.
been murdered and people want to take pictures of the like dead bloody body on the floor.
Yeah.
It's that, you know.
But it's kind of like the when you're a kid and you get that really horrible monster in a book you don't like or something, you still keep going back to that page just to have a look.
Yeah.
Or even if there's something you know, I mean, if you don't like spiders, you keep looking at this bloody spider.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can't help yourself, but
yeah. I will end it with one more game title. Have a look at the list, don't say it. See if you can guess which one I'm going to say. Okay? And this is a game. I need to Google it and find out what you actually have to do. But it is called Suck My Dick or Die.
I knew it would be that one. Mainly because it was the one that my eye kept getting drawn to. And I was being polite and not saying it.
Is it like Grand Theft Auto? You're wandering around the streets with your gun, grabbing hold of somebody and, you know, I'm going to shoot you if you don't suck my dick? Or what? Is it more complicated than that? Is it a nuanced story?
I have no idea. I'll tell you what as well, while we're on about this subject, that's what really gets my dander up, is when
Your dander?
when I get fantasy, I love fantasy books. When I search them on Amazon, 90% of the list is erotic fiction, erotic fantasy. even if I put something really weird in, like
The weirder the
I don't know,
better, isn't it?
some android, some post-apocalyptic android books, and you get
Post-apocalyptic android porn.
yeah, and you're just like, no, I didn't want that at all. There seems to be getting more of them.
I I have I've never read anything like that. I don't even know. I don't know. Maybe I should like read it just to see. I don't know, because at least then I could form an opinion. Is it like um like a sword and sorcery type book, but with porn in?
Well,
Is
all
that
the
is that
pictures seem to be next to naked men, and I've just done a search on Amazon for fantasy books,
yeah?
and we've got first one that's come up is Demon King, claimed by Lucifer.
Okay.
I made a deal with the devil. Now he's claimed me as his mate.
Oh.
Lucas Iffer, billionaire playboy, CEO of Abandoned Inc., King of Sin City, and the devil himself.
Right.
He's dark and gorgeous, wickedly handsome. Oh, and he's also the evil incarnate. I should say no, but I can't. I'm that desperate.
See, whenever I have read a book that has any sort of sex scene,
Now I've looked at
it's
it, that's all I'm going to be flipping.
it's always been really awful. The language that they use, the words that they use are so comical. I just cannot take it seriously at all. I I went through a big reading phase of
Nose and Boone.
Tess. No, Tess Gerritsen horror serial killery type books, and I can't remember which one it was, but one of them I read, and there was this sex scene in the back of a truck or something, consensual, but the language that they were using, I was just like cringing while I was reading it. It was like, and his member, and I'm like, ooh, ooh.
Well, that's quite a common term. I don't know quite what you.
Yeah, but it wasn't sexy. It was just like,
Yeah, but it's
I don't
a
know.
bit more professional than he flopped his cock out. Because then it just becomes vulgar.
Oh dear.
So you're saying you'd prefer the scenes to be a bit more common?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know. But anything I've ever read of that nature just makes me squirm because it always seems to be written really poorly. I don't know how it could be improved. This isn't something that I've put a lot of thought into. But when I read it, it's just like, ugh. It's like they've put no effort into it. I don't know. I don't know.
But as we know, everyone's different, and it might be what
Oh,
the
yeah.
author likes.
Whatever floats
Is
your
not
boat,
what you'd prefer, or I don't know. Hadn't planned on
Whatever
having
makes
this
you happy.
conversation.
We never do. That's what makes it fun. Well, it's 4 minutes past 9. That's 2 hours of what have we talked about this evening? So I know what to put for the title. Where
Members.
did we start? Members. No, that's near the end. So last week was biscuits, Marmite, and fanny candles. So this week,
Houses.
houses. Where did we go after houses? No, we're talking about bungalows.
Houses, mass commercialism,
Oh, but
and
bungalows,
members.
bungalows, capitalism, and fantasy porn. That about sums it up, doesn't it?
Pretty much.
Same time next week.
Well, why not? Nothing better to do.
Oh, dear me. Well, to the few people that have been bobbing in and about, thank you. I hope you've enjoyed our extreme bullshit randomness, because it brightens my week, I can tell you.
I did a Google, and the only Caesar's Legion I could find was something to do with Fallout.
Oh, that's a game, isn't it?
Yeah. So
What does profligates?
could be really insulting.
Profligates. Quickly Google profligates, just so we know whether we were being insulted or not. Hello, profligates. What is your opinions on Caesar's Legion? Profligates.
Recklessly extravagant or wasteful in the use of resources.
I'm definitely recklessly extravagant.
Yeah. He succumbed to drink and a profligate lifestyle.
Oh, that sounds like us.
Well, whatever. If you're insulting us anyway, thank you. At least you commented and actually watched.
And joined in the fun. Right. I'm going to go and get another cup of tea, so I shall leave it there. It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a farewell from I. We will
See you
see
next
you
week.
next week.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.